Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 25th August 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 10 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first of all which are the topics we are going to discuss in this lecture. So first topic it is about Urban Employment Guarantee Scheme. So I think you know about MG Narega scheme, right? So this MG Narega scheme, which is a mainly rural employment scheme. So in this COVID-19 pandemic, we saw there was a trend of reverse migration, that is from urban areas to rural areas due to abrupt imposition of lockdown. Okay. So because of this, now what happened, there is increase in demand for this MG Narega scheme that is seen in rural areas. But what is the condition of the people who are mainly living in these urban areas, that is urban labor, okay, especially. So they are not having proper livelihood, proper income security. So that is also impacting on health. That is also going to lead to increase in malnutrition. So because of this, here many committees recommended for to get this urban employment guarantee scheme on lines of this MG Narega scheme. So Tamil Nadu, it is going to have a pilot project regarding this urban employment guarantee scheme, mainly in two areas. So because of this is in news. And this topic, it is important from GS paper to under governance. And next topic, it is about Pulikalli. So due to this COVID-19 pandemic restrictions, actually this Pulikalli used to be celebrated on 4th day of Onam. So now it is mainly celebrated in Facebook. So here you need to know some facts regarding this Pulikalli because it is a one of folk art. Okay, folk dance actually. So this will be important from art and culture point of view, which comes under GS paper 1. And next topic we are going to discuss, it is about play based teaching module. It is especially for class 1. Okay, so it is mainly conducted by NCERT. So we need to understand what is that play based teaching module, how it will be helpful and what is the significance. And this will be important from education point of view, which comes under GS paper 2. And next one is about Pakistan rocket system. Okay, so Pakistan mainly went for second flight test of Fatah 1. So this is important from our science and technology point of view. So here from this topic you can expect a prelims based question. And next one, it is about SBI report regarding economic growth. So this will be important from our economy, which comes under GS paper 3. The next one is about global manufacturing risk index. Okay, again every year in prelims you can expect a question regarding index and which organization which is releasing that index. So in this context, this topic will also be very important from your prelims and it mainly comes under economy GS paper 3. And next topic we are going to discuss about the serological survey. So already we discussed about the serological survey because ICMR, first of all, it came up with serological survey 1, 2 and now recently 4th serological survey of this ICMR report released. So this article mainly talking about what is the serological survey, what is the need and as well as what are the advantages of this serological survey. So this will be important from our health, which comes in the GS paper 2. And next one, it is about creamy layer. So one important thing which mainly said by our Supreme Court, because mainly Supreme Court, it is looking after petition regarding 2 notifications of Haryana government regarding, it said that 6 lakhs rupees will be the upper limit. Okay. So regarding this, Supreme Court gave a landmark judgment. So this will be very important from our polity point of view, which comes under GS paper 2. And next one, it is about Arctic region. So in Arctic region, what is the climate change that we are seeing and what are the evidence of the climate change that we are seeing, that mainly discussed in this topic. So this will be important from our environment and ecology, which comes under GS paper 3. And next one, it is about National Automated Facial Recognition System. So now government is mainly planning to come up with this National Automation Facial Recognition System Why? Because due to this Pegasus spyware in recent monsoon session, so there was disturbances that we already seen. So because of these disturbances, again data protection law which mainly again postponed. Okay, so because of this, now government want to come up with this national automated facial recognition system, and we are going to see what are the concerns and what is the system that is important from our science and technology point of view, which comes under GS paper 3. So these are some brief introduction regarding the topics we are going to discuss in this lecture. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first topic. Title says Tamil Nadu launches rupees 100 crore urban job scheme. So here Tamil Nadu mainly launches this 100 crore rupees urban job scheme. So first let us try to understand context. If you see context, it mainly says that Tamil Nadu government, it is going to implement urban employment scheme, and this scheme it is on lines of this MG Narega scheme. So this MG Narega scheme which mainly guarantees 100 days of employment, especially in rural areas. So now here one cause of concern here is regarding urban employees or urban laborers who lost their job due to this COVID-19 pandemic. They are not having proper livelihood, there is no proper income. So whenever there is no proper income, that will finally affect on the food, right? So because of this, that will also lead to increase in malnutrition. So whenever there is increase in malnutrition, stunting, wasting, etc., then that will be again burden on our government, right? So due to this, Tamil Nadu government will implement an urban employment scheme. So this scheme which is on lines of Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. And the cost of this scheme, it is about rupees 100 crores. And this program or this scheme which is mainly focusing to improve livelihood of urban poor. Now let us try to see some important details. If you see details, it mainly says that in current year, it will be implemented in 2 zones. Okay, so government is coming up with a pilot project. So in this pilot project, so they are going to implement this in 2 greater Chennai corporations, includes municipal corporation as well as a municipality. So if you say why we need this type of the scheme, what is the need? So if you're talking about the need, unlike other states, urban population in Tamil Nadu was growing very fast. Okay, unlike other states, urban population in Tamil Nadu, it is going fast. That means we can see migration from rural areas to urban areas, that is evident here. And here this urban population will reach 60% of total population by 2036. So because of this, government need to take some measures mainly to ensure livelihood opportunities for this urban poor. A total of about 4 crore people now they are living in urban areas. So if you are talking about some facts regarding this scheme, so name of this scheme will be Kalaingar Urban Development Scheme. So here it mainly says that government would implement the Kalaingar Urban Development Scheme, and the cost of this scheme it is rupees 1000 crore. Okay, now the pilot project is about rupees 100 crore. So in this program, they are mainly focusing on infrastructure. For example, community halls, markets, modern libraries, they will be created in municipalities and town panchayats. In municipalities and town panchayats, there will be infrastructure development that will be taken place. And this infrastructure mainly includes community halls, markets, modern libraries, etc. And next one is a pilot scheme, and the government would soon come out with mainly guidelines regarding providing of wages under this scheme. How much wages they are going to pay, so that will come by the government soon. And one more important thing you need to focus here is, so what is the objective of this program? So objective it is to provide employment opportunities for urban poor, because those people they mainly lost their jobs due to this COVID-19 pandemic. So even committee which is mainly headed by our former RBI governor, that is C. Rangarajan, also recommended for urban employment scheme. Okay, so these are some important details that you need to remember. And I want to give you one homework. Please revise about this MG Narega scheme and let me know in comment box what will come into your mind if you listen this MG Narega. Okay, now let us move on to the next topic. Title says Pullikalli performed live on Facebook. So this article mainly talking about this Pullikalli. Then if you see this image, you can understand it is a folk dance and they are mainly having tiger-like attire. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 1 under art and culture. Now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So we are especially focusing on some facts regarding this Pullikalli. So pulli means leopard, tiger or anything, okay, it is mainly belonging to tiger group. It is maybe leopard or tiger. So Kali means mainly play in Malayalam language. So this Pullikalli, it is a recreational street folk art, okay. It is a recreational folk art mainly performed on 4th day of Onam celebrations. So what is this Onam? Onam, it is a harvest festival which mainly celebrated in state of Kerala. And the folk art mainly practiced in Thrissur district of Kerala. And the important theme of this folk is mainly tiger hunting with participants who are playing a role of tiger and hunter. And the performers who are performing this Pullikalli, they mainly paint their body like tigers, hunters, and they will dance on the streets to the beats of traditional percussion instruments. For example, they will use instruments like takil, udukku and as well as chenda. And this dance form or this art form mainly introduced by Maharaja Rama Verma, okay. And an important thing here is another event which mainly takes place during Onam festival is Aranmula boat race, okay. So these are some important things that you need to remember regarding this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. Title says 12-week play based teaching module for class 4 students. So this is mainly talking about play based, okay, play based teaching module especially for class 1st. So this article is important regarding our education which comes under GS paper 2. So now let us try to understand this topic in a very great detail. First let us see context. If you say context, it mainly says that the central government has issued a 12-week play-based module as a transition aid to help students to ease into physical classes for the first time. So context mainly says that central government which mainly issued a 12-week play-based module. So this module will mainly help students to ease into physical classes for the first time. Okay, due to this COVID-19 pandemic, students, they are not going to school since last 1.5 year onwards. So because of this, this type of module will be very much helpful, mainly to help the students especially into this physical classes for the first time after this COVID-19. Okay, not after this COVID-19, but now many state governments, they have decided to start or reopen their schools. So if you are talking about details, it mainly says that this preparatory module should be used for all first class students across the country even after the pandemic according to NCERT. So NCERT, that is National Council of Educational Research and Training, which mainly said that so this preparatory module that need to be used for all first class students across the country after this COVID pandemic. And next one is children, why? Because children, they will be coming up with different abilities or different levels of learning, because some children, they will understand the concept very easily and they will reproduce very very fast. If any teacher says any poem or any rhyme here, so within some minutes after that the children, some children they will be having that capability to reproduce what a ma'am has said, okay. But some students, if we say 10 times or 15 times also, they will not grasp the things that much fastly. So there will be some different levels of learning here. So whenever the learning process is very very slow here, those children, they will be remain or continue to be behind or lag behind in the classrooms. So this situation also has been exacerbated because of this COVID-19 school closures. Because whenever the parents, okay, parents who are educated means they will make their children to sit and at least they will do some homeworks, and as well as parents, they will guide the children mainly to continue their classes, and as well as they will explain something, right? But if the children whose parents are illiterate, means what happened, those illiterate people, they will not guide their children mainly regarding how to read, and they will not going to help the children. So because of this, the situation now, okay, the situation now regarding this different levels of learning which has been increased. Okay, and next one is pandemic. In pandemic, none of the children, they are arriving in class 1 this year. Okay, they have been in any sort of physical class. That means who are coming into this class 1. So for these children here, there is a need of engaging. Okay, so now let's try to see some facts regarding this module. So module lays out detailed plans, and also it contains some activities, games, art integration and storytelling tools. So by these things now we can achieve some 3 important development goals. Okay, so module will have some detailed plans, and as well as they will use some they will give some activities, and as well as they will give some games. So through these activities and through these games, they mainly try to incorporate some knowledge, and as well as that will be helpful to recall the things. For example, there will be a big I saw one thing personally here is there will be some set of the things which are present, like human body. For example, let us take this human body is present. So here in this human body, the parts can be removable, like head, hands, legs, stomach, etc. And here the children, they need to arrange those parts in a specific place. Okay, and there will be labeling behind, like hands, head, so and so. So in this way, whenever we are giving some activities which is mainly based upon learning, right, and there will be number tree, we need to arrange the numbers to that tree. So by this, whenever we are giving any activities, then that will helpful mainly for imparting of knowledge. So this is a thing mainly done in the play schools actually. Okay, so here in this module, they are mainly focusing on detailed plans, using some activities, games, and as well as some art integration, such that they will be helpful in achieving of developmental goals. So here we are mainly focusing not only on education but as well as good health and well-being, and it also includes even physical and motor development skills. And even we are mainly focusing on socio-economic, socio-emotional development and nutrition, safety, hygiene and sanitation. Okay, so this is the first important goal. And other 2 goals which are mainly include foundation for literacy and as well as numeracy. So these are the some important things that you need to remember. And now let us see next topic. Title says Modi Putin discuss crisis in Afghanistan. Okay, so this article mainly talking about crisis in Afghanistan. Here in this context, here BRICS, okay, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, they are going to meet virtually. Okay, they met already virtually, and they discuss some important issues regarding crisis in Afghanistan. So this article will be important from international relations, which comes under GS paper 2. Now let us try to see this topic. Here you need to also focus on some facts regarding what is this BRICS and what is the structure of BRICS, because you can expect some prelims based questions from this area. So if you are talking about context, it mainly says that our Prime Minister and Russian President, they discussed about charting out a coordinated strategy in Afghanistan. So context is our Prime Minister and as well as Russian President, they discussed about how to come up with coordinated and strategy in Afghanistan. So recently, national security advisors from 5 BRICS nations like Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, they met virtually, and they mainly discussed about developments. Okay, developments there with a focus on combating terrorism. Okay, so how to combat the terrorism. So recently they went for meeting and they discussed this topic. So if you're talking about some important details, it mainly says that, so they mainly discussed developments in Afghanistan. Okay, so here these people mainly discussed about what are the developments in Afghanistan, and they finally agreed to set up a permanent bilateral channel. Okay, they finally agreed to set up permanent bilateral channel on the issues of arising which are from this Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan. And also even these people also talked about how to counter terrorism. Okay, and India is also having a raised concern regarding cross-border terrorism, Because as we know, whenever this Panjshir mainly attacked by this Taliban, some people mainly died because of tough resistance which mainly showed by the people from this Panjshir valley. So in that 1%, from 1% we got an ID card, that is from Pakistan. So here India's cause of concern here is in Pakistan may also do some attack, okay, in India. So here in this context they also discussed about counter-terrorism, okay, and also they talked about issue of cross-border terrorism and activities of groups such as Lashkar-e-Taiba and as well as Jaish-e-Mohammed, which enjoy the state support and threaten the peace and security. So these Lashkar-e-Taiba and as well as JAM, Jaish-e-Mohammed, so they are mainly enjoying some state support and as well as they are threatening the peace and security in the region. So if you're talking about areas of concern here, so areas of concern here is ensuring of regional security in Afghanistan and as well as countering radicalization and even countering the spread of terrorist activities or ideology. So it is one of important concern for India. And now let us focus on some important facts. So if you see facts, it mainly says that BRICS, okay, BRICS, it is an acronym. So BRICS, it is an acronym for the grouping of world's leading emerging economies. For example, Brazil, China, India, and also even Russia and South Africa. So these are the 5 nations. So here BRICS, right? B for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, C for China, and S for South Africa. So in this way you can remember the members of this BRICS. So that members, it is very important from your UPSC prelims point of view. So in 2001, British economist mainly he coined the term BRIC, okay, to describe the 4 emerging economies. They include Brazil, Russia, India, and China. So later on, South Africa joined this group in December 2010, okay, that is 2010, after which group and mainly adopted acronym that is BRICS. And if you are talking about structure of this BRICS, BRICS does not exist in a form of organization. So it is not organized in a form of organization, okay. So but it is an annual summit between the supreme leaders of these 5 nations, and the chairmanship mainly rotated annually. That is, from 1 year it will be Brazil, and next one is Russia, next one is India, next one is China. Next one is here China, and third one and last one is South Africa. So in this way here there will be rotating, okay, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So first, if you say Brazil, it is held in chairmanship, means next year it will be transferred to Russia, next year it will transfer to India, next year it will be transferred to China, and next will be South Africa, and next will be our Brazil. So in this way here there will be rotated annually among the members. That will be in accordance to acronym that is BRICS. And this is gist of this topic. Now let us see next topic. Here title says Pakistan test indigenous rocket system. So Pakistan mainly tests this indigenous rocket system. Name here is Fatah-1. So now let us try to see context. If you see context, it mainly says that Pakistan successfully test launched an indigenously developed guided missile launch rocket system. So here Pakistan successfully tested indigenous developed guided multi-launch rocket system. So name of that rocket system is Fatah. So if you're talking about details, it mainly says that the weapon system will give Pakistan Army the capability of precision target engagement deep in energy territory. So here this weapon system, it is very much helpful for Pakistan Army because it is having a capability of precision target. That means if they are aiming at a target, that will go and directly hit with that target. So because of this, it will be very, very important for Pakistan Army. And this rocket is also having capability of delivering conventional warheads. And it is a second flight test of this Fatah-1. And if you see target, it is about 140 kilometers. So these are some important details which are given in this topic. And now let us try to see some 2 important topics regarding economy section. So first one is GDP likely grew at 18.5 in April-June SBI report. So this article mainly talking about SBI report. So name of that report is EcoWrap. Okay, EcoWrap report. So now let us try to understand this topic. So this topic will be important regarding GS paper 3. Okay, under economy. So if you see context, it mainly says that, so India's gross domestic product, okay, so let me know what is GDP, okay, so I will explain here in brief, okay. So GDP means the total value of final, so not intermediate, it is a final goods and services within a territory within a period of 1 year, that is called as GDP. So India's gross domestic product, that is GDP, is expected to have been grown about 18.5%. Okay, it is upward. Okay, it is an upward bias in first quarter that is mainly seen, and this data which is according to EcoWrap report. So if you are talking about details, it mainly says that, so this estimate, it is lower than RBI's GDP growth prediction of 21.4% of April-June quarter. So the estimate, if you are talking about this estimate of this EcoWrap report, which is very much less than compared to that of this RBI report, RBI came up with a projection of 21.4% in April to June quarter. And this report, which is mainly based on nowcasting model, okay. So the forecasted GDP growth for this quarter 1, that would be around 18.5%, and we can also see higher growth in quarter 1, which is mainly due to low base, okay. So why we are seeing or expecting this growth? Because of low base in quarter 1. And next one here is SBI also had developed nowcasting model, okay. So this casting model will contains 41 high frequency indicators. It mainly contains 41 high frequency indicators, and they are commonly associated with industrial activity, severe service activity, and even global economy. So here in this thing, which mainly includes even industrial activity, services activity, and even some global economy. So the business activity index, which mainly based on ultra high frequency indicators, okay, and they also show a further increase in August. So these are some important details which are given in this topic. And now let us see next topic. Title says India pips US as hub for manufacturing. So this article mainly talking about one report, that is Global Manufacturing Risk Index. So first let us try to see context. If you say context, it mainly says that according to real estate consultant Cushman and Wakefield. So according to a real estate consultant Cushman and Wakefield, so India has overtaken US to become the second most sought for manufacturing destination globally. So here recently one report mainly says that, so India has overtaken or overridden US, okay, in what? In mainly manufacturing, to become a manufacturing destination globally. So it mainly drive by increase in competitiveness. So if you're talking about some important details of this index, so China retained the top slot, okay, in this index, and the consultant mainly said that its 2021 Global Manufacturing Risk Index, which mainly assess the most of advantageous locations for manufacturing, and they include about 47 countries, and this rank mainly based on our 4 parameters. So what are those 4 parameters on which this index mainly depended? That is about the country's ability, okay, country's ability to restart manufacturing, and next one is business environment, and based on operational cost and as well as the risk. Okay, so these are the some important details that you need to remember regarding this topic. Now let us try to see next topic. Title says a surf feed of sero surveys. Okay, so this article mainly talking about serological survey. So what is a serological survey? So as you all know, we are having blood, right? So this blood mainly contains blood components, and as well as we are having water in our blood. So blood components mainly includes, we are having WBC, we are having RBC, and as well as platelets, and we are also having some important things like we can say some proteins are present, okay. So we are having blood components like WBC cells, RBC cells, and platelets majorly, and we are also having water content. And if you're talking about blood, we will be coming across 2 important words, that is plasma, and next one is a serum, okay. So we are collecting our blood and we are separating serum. In that serum, we are mainly testing whether antibodies are present. So which antibodies I am talking, that is IgG antibodies. So why only this IgG antibodies? Because whenever we are getting this COVID-19 infection, our body will try to fight against it, right? And it will produces some antibodies. So these are called as IgG antibodies. So these IgG antibodies, which are very much helpful mainly to identify whether we got this COVID-19 or whether after taking so and so vaccine we are getting this antibodies or not. So this will be very much important to identify whether herd immunity which mainly achieved in so and so community or not. Okay, so this article will be important regarding health, which comes under GS paper 2. And now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. The central theme of this article mainly says that while they are useful in detecting the prevalences of antibodies, frequent sero surveys are expensive and futile. So this mainly says that yes, the serological surveys will be important for detection of prevalence of antibodies. But here the sero surveys are expensive and futile. So here we are focusing on what is important from our UPSC point of view. We are going to see what is a sero surveys and why we need this serological survey and what will be the advantages of this serological survey. So if you are talking about sero survey, so it is mainly used to determine prevalence of coronavirus antibodies among so and so community. So we are selecting so and so community and randomly we are selecting samples and we are withdrawing blood and we are separating serum. In that serum we are mainly looking after presence of these antibodies. So in this survey, blood samples are tested for presence of this IgG, immunoglobulin G antibodies. So these antibodies mainly determine our past coronavirus infection. So these antibodies, they will be seen in our body within 2 weeks of this COVID-19 infection. So if we are detecting this, then we can understand whether we got this coronavirus or not, or if we take any vaccine, whether our vaccine it is working or not, we can understand this. So why we need this serological survey? So this serological survey, it is more focused population based survey of high and low risk groups in select districts, different from the routine testing. So rather than going for testing whether it is positive for coronavirus or not, in return we are mainly focusing on whether the antibodies are present, okay, in so and so community or not, because it will be mainly helpful to monitor this COVID-19 trends in so and so community, and also this will be mainly helps to check for community transmission. So because of this we need this serological survey. And now let's try to see recently 4th serological survey results declared by this ICMR. So now let us try to focus on what will be the advantages of this serological survey. So this article mainly talked about 3 important advantages. So first one is acceleration of vaccination of vulnerable people. Okay. So whenever we are identifying so and so antibodies are present or not, so if so and so community which is having less number of antibodies and there is a chance of increasing of community transmission, means so this data will be very much helpful for acceleration of vaccination in so and so community. And next one is whether community transmission has taken place or not, we can understand here. Okay, so whenever we identify that community transmission which has not been happened means, so we can take some necessary actions regarding rapid case detection, isolation, and as well as containment zones, etc. And this serological survey is also very much helpful mainly to assess how far or how close we are to get herd immunity. So many virologists mainly says that at least 60% of population they should be immune. That means they need to have these antibodies in their body to reach herd immunity. So if you are going for this surveys, we can identify so and so community mainly achieve this herd immunity or not. So if not, means we can go for increased rate of vaccination in these areas. So this is gist of this topic. I hope it is clear. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says economic criteria not a sole basis for creamy layer. So this article mainly talking about creamy layer. So let me know in comment box what is the meaning of creamy layer, because I discussed number of times regarding this creamy layer. I discussed separately regarding Indra Sahani case also, right? So please let me know what is a creamy layer, and if you don't know about this creamy layer also, please tell me in comment box. Then I will be doing a separate video on this creamy layer also in tomorrow's lecture. And now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that Supreme Court, our top apex court, our Supreme Court held that economic criteria should not be the sole basis to identify sections of backward communities as creamy layer. To identify so and so sections in our backward communities as creamy layer, it should not be a economic criteria. For example, let us take this is a reserved community. So for this community, we are giving reservations. So each and every community, they will be having poor and rich. So we are having rich people and middle people and as well as a poor people. So whenever we are providing any reservations here, so government said that, and under this, in this Indra Sahani case, we need to come up with a creamy layer, right? So topmost people, they will be not comes under this reservation, because they will come under creamy layer. Only the people who really deserve so and so thing, then they will get under this benefits of government. Okay, but here how can we identify whether they will come under this creamy layer or not? That is normally based on economy. So how much amount of the money they are earning. But here now Supreme Court said that this economic criteria should not be a sole basis. So this economic criteria, which is not a sole basis to identify the sections of this backward communities, whether they will come under this creamy layer or not. So if you see details, so Supreme Court said that we need to include social advancement and higher employment in government services. They played an equal role to decide whether a person belonging to a creamy layer or not. Okay, so whether he will be coming under creamy layer means he or she will be denied from quota benefits, right? So here economic benefits or economic criteria, it is not a sole thing. We need to also look after social advancement and even higher employment in government services. So the basis of exclusion of creamy layer cannot be a merely economic. So these are some important statements which are given by our Honorable Supreme Court. And if you see background here, mainly while referring to Indra Sahani case of 1992 verdict, Supreme Court came up with this decision. So here creamy layer would include persons from backward classes who are occupying any post in higher services like IAS, IPS and All India services. That means they reach highest level, okay, high level of social advancement and even economic status, because they will not be treated as backward. So why Supreme Court took this? Because recently a petition mainly filed in Supreme Court challenging two notifications which are mainly issued on August 17, 2016 and August 20, 2018 by Haryana government. So Haryana government said that mainly to identify the creamy layer, it said that the upper limit will be 6 lakhs rupees per annually. So now Supreme Court said that economic criteria will not be a sole basis here. So because of this, it squashed or struck down both of these notifications. Okay, and ordered to come up with new fresh guidelines. Okay, so this is gist of this topic. And now let us see next topic. Title says climate change, a catalyst for Arctic cooperation. So this article mainly talking about Arctic cooperation in this Arctic area. So here we have North Pole. So these are the area which mainly comes under this Arctic region, right? So it is very much near to this North Pole. So let me know about Arctic Council and how many countries are the part of Arctic Council in comment box. So this article will be important from Environment and Ecology, which comes under GS paper 3. So now let us try to see central theme of this topic. So environmental challenges should be a priority for all players in the region and outweighing military and economic issues. So this article mainly says that we need to give priority for economic challenges, but we need to keep away the military and as well as economic issues in this Arctic region. Okay, so now let us try to talk about this topic, and this topic is mainly focusing on climate change in this Arctic region. So recently in Arctic region, there is a growing tensions between North Atlantic Treaty Organization allies, that is NATO allies, and as well as Russia, that is seen in this Arctic region. So if you're talking about Arctic resources, so there are 8 countries. 8 countries, they will be having direct access. So 8 countries, they will be having direct access to these Arctic resources. They include Canada, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Russian Federation, Sweden and US. So these are the 8 countries, they are having direct access to the resources of this Arctic region, right? So even in 2013, there are 6 observer states which joined the council. They include China, Japan, India, Italy, South Korea and Singapore. And now we are having totally 13. Okay. So India which is having observer status. So this is one important glimpse fact here. So if you're talking about security concern in this Arctic region, so by the end of Cold War in 1960s, what happened? So actually in 1960s, Cold War had been started. So what happened here? So during this end of this Cold War period, the geopolitical tensions and as well as security concerns in Arctic were almost forgotten. So I want to give you one question. So when did this Cold War started and when did this Cold War ended? So Cold War, it is between which countries? So let me know in comment box. So this will comes under your world history, right? So if you see the by end of this Cold War, geopolitical tensions and as well as security concerns in this Arctic region, they were almost forgotten. So what happened in October 1987? So here the then Secretary General of Soviet Communist Party, he visited Kola Peninsula. So after that, he mainly came up with a zone of peace in this Arctic region. Then what happened? So here again in 2007 onwards, so Russian explorers, they planted a flag. So actually this thing which mainly started by Russia in 2007, they went for planting of their flag on the seabed of 4,200 meters, which is below the North Pole, mainly to articulate Moscow claims in Arctic. Mainly they planted their flag and they started claiming this Arctic region. And also the regional tension which mainly increased after Russia's Ukraine conflict in 2014. So later on, what happened? Relationship between USA and as well as Russia again reached their lowest point again. So Russia got a name like Russia it is a rule breaker and as well as revisionist power and as well as untruthworthy player. So Russia's intention was mainly to re-establish military might on its northern fleets and also creates a security concerns. So whenever Russia want to re-establish a military might here, it is also leading to some security concerns. And the Russian military experts, they believe that this Barents Sea that can serve as a launching area for Western seaborne attack. So because of all these steps which are taken by Russia, that led to increase in tensions. So if you're talking about ecological dimensions of this Arctic area, so there is increasing of climate change that is evident. So if you see some evidences of increase in climate change, the summer of 2021, it would be recorded in the history as one of the most devastating seasons of our times. And we saw fears of floods and as well as wildfires that made destroying communities in many parts of the world. Even Europe, it is under the wildfires. And even in USA, we saw some fires, right? And in USA, we saw there is a heat dome also. And due to some environmental transformations, natural catastrophes mainly occurs unexpectedly on an unprecedented scale here. Okay, and we also experienced extreme heat in North America and wildfires in Russian Siberian region, and also we saw winter temperature which is below 40 degrees centigrade. So these are the minus 40 degrees centigrade. So these are the some important consequences of climate change. And if you see some data, it mainly says that the World Climate Security Report, according to the World Climate Security Report 2020, it mainly says that Arctic, it is nearly warming twice as fast as the rest of the planet. So it is mainly warming twice, and we are seeing there is a record breaking warm since 2014 onwards. So whenever there is increase in the warming, then what happens? The ice will be melting, right? that will lead to increase in sea level. So Arctic is likely begin experiencing ice-free summers. So in summers, because of increase in heat, they are seeing ice-free summers within next decade. Okay. So this is the mainly one important data according to this, the World Climate Security Report 2020. And if you're talking about what are the geopolitical and strategic issues, so due to climate change, we are going to experience rapid ice melting in this region. So because of this rapid ice melting, so we can have the access to the water, right? Ice will be melting means we are having large amount of water, such that it will provide some new opportunities. It will provide some new opportunities in the region, which mainly includes a transatlantic ship route. So we are going to have this transatlantic ship routes. So because of this, it mainly attracted all stakeholders in the region from both Arctic and as well as non-Arctic states. So if you're talking about advantages for China, so transport routes from China to Europe through this Arctic, it is not only much shorter, but also it is free from challenges for China. For example, it is having some challenges regarding Malaccan Strait and as well as South China Sea. It is having some China, it is mainly facing some objections from different Asian countries. These Asian countries are mainly supported by US, etc. So whenever there is a melting of ice is happening, then China can easily access to Europe. It will be having two benefits here. That is, the route will be shortest, okay, than compared to that of it is going towards Strait of Malacca and Bab el-Mandab and as well as Mediterranean Sea. Through this, it is reaching Europe, right? So rather than this from China here, it will directly move towards Europe in this way, okay, rather than going in this way, right? So because of this, the route will be shorter, and also it is not going to have much challenges in this area. It is mainly facing because of Asian countries. Okay, and China mostly stems from its energy security issues, and also it need to diversify its shipping lane. So it is mainly thinking about it is going to have some diversification of shipping lanes. So whenever there is a rapid melting is happening, then it will be very much advantage for China. So what is the way forward? So here mainly to decrease environmental impacts on this Arctic region. So we need to refrain from mutual provocations and excessive militarization in this region. So we need to focus on environmental concerns. So we need to come up with long-term vision and strategic goals than compared to that of immediate short-term gains. Okay. So these are the some important details that are given in this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. Now let us see next topic. Before saying that, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. If you want to clear UPSC 2022, we came up with one excellent, highly beneficial and also highly economical course, that is Current Affairs package along with mains answer writing practice. So how this course will be useful to clear UPSC? So one thing you need to remember here is, before entering into examination hall, you need to know at least 1.5 years current affairs for sure, right? So this is the right time to join this course to cover this 1.5 years current affairs in a comprehensive manner. And here in this course, we are mainly focusing on mains answer writing practice. So why mains answer writing practice? Because in mains you will be having just 3 hours of time, and you need to write or answer 20 questions. To answer all those questions, you will be getting at least 7 to 7.5 minutes of time for each question. So within this time, you need to read the question at least twice, and you need to understand the demand of question, and you need to write the answer here. So just imagine how much fast you should be and how much practice you need. So in this course, you are going to write more than 300 questions and more than 50 essays. So in this way, you will be having good mains answer writing practice, and this will provide a chance to improve your answer writing skills. And next one is, here in this course, we also conduct prelims test on every Sunday, and we provide you video explanation part. So in this way, this course which is designed as per demand of UPSC. So finally, I want to say one thing, please don't take this course as a choice. Try to join this course as soon as possible and achieve your dream of clearing UPSC. So details of this course which is given in description box, so please visit that once. And if you want to talk to me directly, you can call to this number 8074765513. Please make a note of this. And now let's come back and let us see last topic of the day. It is about the ugly face of a crime fighting move. So the article mainly talking about ugly face of crime fighting move. So if you see central theme, it mainly says that the implementation of national automated facial recognition system. So it is about implementation of a national automated facial recognition system in India, which mainly lacks adequate safeguards. Here government which is mainly talking to implement this national automated facial recognition system, but here it is having some lack of adequate face safeguard. So here we are mainly focusing on what are those loopholes. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this topic will be important from your polity and as well as science and technology, which comes under GS paper 3 and it comes under GS paper 2. So now let us try to see this topic. So as you know that in recent monsoon session efficiency it is very low because of frequent disruptions due to this Pegasus, and due to this Pegasus event there was disturbances that is mainly created by opposition parties in monsoon session. So if you're talking about this Pegasus, it is a spyware. Due to this Pegasus, some Indian journalists and national civil society activists, even political leaders and top election strategists and even some judges of Supreme Court, they were under surveillance. So now it led to issue of right to privacy, that leads to violation of right to privacy. So recently what happened, joint committee which is mainly examining this personal data protection bill 2019 was again granted 5th extension by parliament. So again there is extension. So here Indian police, they want to come up with information technology, and in this regard India approved implementation of this national automated facial recognition system. Okay, so due to this India approved implementation of the national automated facial recognition system that will mainly help to facilitate investigation of crime and detection of criminals in a quick and timely manner. So this will be mainly helpful mainly to facilitate investigation of crimes and also detection of criminals in a very quick manner. So if you are talking about this recognition system, facial recognition system, which mainly functions as a national level search platform, and it will use facial recognition technology, and this technology mainly helpful for investigation of crime, or it will be also helpful for identification of persons of interest. Okay, regardless whenever they are using any face mark, or whenever they are using makeup, or even when they undergone plastic surgery, or whenever they have increased their beard or hair extension also, we can easily identify that person. So technology is absolutely intrusive and it is based on computer algorithms. So by using these computer algorithms, that will be make some unique facial landmarks. So what are the concerns here? So first one, the real problem here is facial recognition does not return a definite result. It is not 100% accurate. So this is the first important thing, and it also violates right to privacy of people. So as you all know, in KS Puttaswamy judgment, Supreme Court said that right to privacy which comes under fundamental right. So it is violating our fundamental right. Even in other cases, many countries, for example China, also uses facial recognition for racial profiling and as well as mass surveillance, especially to track these Uyghurs. Uyghurs are a minority Muslim people. They used to live in this, they will live in this Xinjiang province, right? So mainly to track this Uyghur Muslims here, China mainly uses some facial recognition, okay? But here because of using of that led to number of problems. So before implementing this, we need to check what is the advantages and what is the disadvantage, and we need to come up with the benefit risk analysis. Okay, so this is the gist of this topic. And one thing I want to say is there is article regarding Lebanon, okay? Lebanon in page number 6. So please open your atlas and see which are the countries which are sharing boundary with Lebanon. So that will be important. There is no need of reading what is happening in Lebanon, okay? So this is about this today's Hindu analysis. I think today's lecture, it is a very lengthy. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll to this current affairs package. Thank you so much.